It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Featurette TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine indeed. We're back once again with your weekly recap of everything Star Wars that's been happening this week. It's been a big week because it was May the 4th this past week, so we can find out what we're talking about on the show tonight. First up, we're going to check out Star Wars Visions, which has just dropped on Disney+. We'll be talking Star Wars Fan Fun Day, which comes next weekend. Aforementioned May the 4th arrived. We've got all the reveals from all the companies from all their product ranges, including Hasbro and Mr. Newbold compiled a huge mega list over on Featurette.com as well. We've got the shirt reveals from RSVLTS, and we're also looking ahead to Rancho Obi-Wan's Gala, which is coming back this October. We'll be remembering Carrie Fisher as she was awarded a star on the Walk of Fame on May the 4th. Kathleen Kennedy has also been talking the future of Star Wars movies and having to eventize them. We'll be talking what that could mean for the future of Star Wars on the big screen. And to wrap up the show, we'll be talking Star Wars Andor Season 2. As Tony Gilroy revealed this past week that the final will be the 3 days leading up to Rogue One. So to discuss that and much, much more from Featurette.com, Mr. Paul McQue. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Good evening.
How's your week
Good
been?
morning, Tatooine. Yeah, it's been good.
Yeah. May the 4th has been a big dominance this past week. Was there a product or item that was announced that grabbed your attention?
To be honest with you, not product-wise. I'm not. I haven't been hooked in by the whole May the 4th. Give me your money.
It's very much a commercial day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a bit too much.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Like I like the fact that they're hooking in people who are like they'll watch a movie or buy their kids like a Lego or something like that, and then never think about Star Wars until the next movie comes out or whatever. I like seeing those sort of people wearing a Star Wars t-shirt or tweeting about Star Wars or whatever, but it's just a bit too much.
Yeah. There's definitely something to be said when your inbox fills up with 100 emails from 100 different companies on May the 4th, all wanting to sell their product, and you just think, if you'd sent that email next week, I might be more inclined to read it.
I mean, we buy Star Wars stuff every week or every other week, or you know what I mean? So, I mean, get an odd little discount now and again.
Yeah. Discount codes don't mind, but like discount codes, send us them.
Yeah, that doesn't. That's always welcome, but
Yeah.
we'll impulse buy any day of the week. Doesn't need to be May the 4th.
Yeah. What kick off the show by talking about Star Wars Visions Season 2 dropped on May the 4th on Disney+. A lot of people have been excited for this since the second volume was announced, and a real mix of different studios on this one as well. I can play the sort of featurette that was kind of dropped this past week as well. Whilst we talk about it, was there any one of the episodes that particularly stood out to you?
There was two. I'll just look it up on my phone here. The first one that I thought was great was episode 5, Journey to the Dark Head. Now, anime isn't something that I usually watch or something that I'm into, but the story, it looked great. I thought it was fantastic, but the story itself was the most Lucas, Filoni, Star Warsy. I thought it was great. There's so many opportunities for like wallpapers and lock screens. I thought it just looked fantastic.
Yeah.
And the other one was the Bandits of Golak, episode 7. Really bright and colourful, looks absolutely fantastic, and made me want to book a trip to Wadi Rum.
Yeah, definitely. The kind of thing I love, animation is not my thing at all, but the kind of thing I love about Star Wars Visions is the introduction of all these different studios doing such unique and sort of different takes on Star Wars. I don't think anyone would ever have suggested Aardman as being a production house to turn to produce Star Wars content in the past, and they come out there with something totally unique, and you just think,
I thought
why not?
that was great. Yeah, I enjoyed that one. In fact, it was just the night before a TikTok appeared on my For You page, sort of thing. In the background in one of the scenes, just when it says start your engines, the moon skiing cooker from Wallace and Gromit makes an appearance in the background.
Yeah.
So I looked out for that.
Yeah. And the great thing about having all these different studios involved in something like Visions is it's got to feed the imagination of the studio and Lucasfilm in terms of pitches going forward as to could this studio produce something, entire series and build a show from this particular studio as well.
Yeah.
I
mean,
if you were to...
there was...
Sorry, carry on.
No, I was just going to say that there were so many of them that kind of took me by surprise. The episode 1, again, visually, absolutely stunning. The Sith. As I'm watching it, I'm just thinking, yeah, that'd make a cool wallpaper. That'd make a great background. There's so many opportunities for screen grabs. It just looks absolutely awesome.
Yeah. Anakin Crespin there in the comments saying that Vision Season 2 was a masterpiece. His favourite episode there was Screecher's Reach.
Screecher's Reach, that was the one... In fact, hang on, let me look at my notes. That was the second one. Yeah, so for that, I've just got a one-word note: Egypt. Yeah, whoever wrote that, fantastic. I like the word Egypt in Star Wars.
If you were to take one of the episode and expand out and give that company a series, is there one that particularly jumped out at you?
What was it? What did I say? The fifth one, Journey to the Dark Head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think there's certainly the promise from Lucasfilm is that they're very interested in exploring anime going forward as well, and so kind of hope has to be there that it expands beyond Visions and there is potential for its own series as well. I think there's an appetite out there. I think there's like a genuine buzz and excitement from not just hardcore Star Wars fans, but as you say, anime fans, and it's kind of like a world that I don't really know. Is when you go to a Comic-Con and you see all these incredible cosplayers, and it's completely unfamiliar as to what characters they are or so on. But like a huge buzz went out across the internet once again to do with Star Wars from corners of the social media you don't normally see talking about Star Wars, and I think that can only be a positive.
Absolutely. Again, like I don't watch anime as well, but when there's convention, you can see how popular the conventions are. Definitely a target audience there.
Yeah. Moving on to the next news item, and next week, pressed the wrong button. Well done, Brian. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Star Wars Fan Fun Day arrives next weekend. On the Saturday evening is Dinner with the Stars, where you can enjoy a lovely meal at Blackburn Football Club's hospitality suites, when you'll have one of the Star Wars celebrity guests at your table with you. And then on Sunday, the main day, the Fan Fun Day itself, raising money for local charities, and an incredible family fun kind of atmosphere event, one of my favourite shows of the year. And they've announced the final two guests, which is Jonathan Cass from Andor and Samantha Alleyne as well, who's from pretty much anything from the sort of Disney era of Star Wars she's been in. Known most famously, obviously, for being the first female stormtrooper, but you'll also catch her in the X-Wing pilots and various other costumes as well throughout the Star Wars galaxy of movies and TV.
She's brilliant. She's a good crack.
Yeah. Are you looking forward to going down for the weekend to Blackburn for Star Wars Fan Fun Day?
I am indeed. It's going to be. I haven't been since it's moved to Blackburn. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing the rest of the Fanthas hanging out, having a beer.
Yeah, Fantha Tracks is going to have a booth there, and we're going to have a special pin badge as well, exclusive to just this event as well. So if you're heading along to the event, do come by, say hello to us at the booth, and we'll give you one of our pins as well.
With it being coronation weekend, my king is going. He played King George III in Hamilton. Mike Gibson. That's who I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, that's the guest you're looking forward to.
That's what I've got my fingers crossed on his table.
Yeah. Tickets still on sale, I believe. I think today's the last day. You can buy them online. After that, I think it's at the door. And get along, enjoy a fan run, brilliant day out for the whole family. Moving swiftly on, we can also talk about some of the products that came out May the 4th. Roosevelt's t-shirts as well, and shirts rather, hugely popular. They had a new wave out for May the 4th. We can sort of check some of them out now. I know I ended up ordering the Trilogy's End shirt along with another two that I didn't really need. But once they got me, they were hooked. Love their shirts, brilliant stuff. They had 5 out on May the 4th, I believe. Trilogy's End, Jabba's Palace Pals.
Yeah, I like that one. That's my favourite of what they released on May 4th.
Yeah, it's a trap for the Akbar fans. And they also had Ewok Warriors and Rancor Rhapsody, which I think proved quite popular as well. A lot of people digging the Rancor. Yeah, so that was coming at us as well. And Hasbro, the day before May the 4th, had a fan stream where they announced a whole host of products, and we can check some of them out. The Black Series Axe Wheels premium electronic helmet, carrying on the range of helmets, which have proven to be incredibly popular, incredibly detailed as well. You can order that now over in Hasbro Pulse. Not coming out until this winter, $140. And you also have the Black Series Arc Trooper 5s available this autumn for £28. Again, available for pre-order through Hasbro Pulse. The Vintage Collection Wicket and Kinisa. Spring next year, $36.99. Fan of the Ewoks?
Back in the day, I was, yeah.
It is, I guess, a 40th anniversary, isn't it?
It's not something that I'll be purchasing, but I remember the old cartoon was good.
Yeah. Darth Malgus, of course, from Star Wars: The Old Republic, still an incredibly popular video game, and coming out in the autumn as well, £34. A lot of people hoping that the Dawn of the Jedi movie announced during Star Wars Celebration takes some cues from the Old Republic, I think, and I think there's maybe a potential there to have kind of like a very unique look to Star Wars.
Yeah. Blank slate.
Yeah. Out of the 3 movies that got announced at Celebration, was there any that grabbed your attention more than the other?
Yeah. I mean, the one with Ray coming back, to be honest with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to seeing how they progress that, or her story, I should say.
I think that was
See
probably the most. I think that was probably the most unexpected of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a brave choice as well, because obviously the sequel trilogy has its detractors as well as its fans. So a lot of people kind of thought, are they just going to sidestep away from it and try and do something completely different? But they're taking it head on. So I think you're kind of getting a little bit of something for everyone. If you're getting Dawn of the Jedi, I think, as you say, clean slate's a chance to do something new and unique. Fan of the TV shows have got the Dave Filoni film coming, and fan of the sequels have got a film featuring Rey coming as well. So a little bit of something for everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, like yourself, I know you're a big Lost fan as well, so I was kind of disappointed that Lindelof left.
Yeah. I've been
still hoping he gets a credit. I hope he's done significant work to get a credit on it, but we'll see.
Yeah. I was interested by a lot of his comments. It kind of, I wasn't sure whether to take it. Was he being a little bit snarky, or was he trying to do his best not to be snarky? It's kind of like fell in that sort of knife edge.
Damon isn't a snarky person.
Yeah.
I would say that's more his. I think that was his way of saying, "Look, I'm done. I'm out," sort of thing. Like, I've passed it on.
I think it's the best situation as well if, as a writer, you've got a very distinct idea of what you want to do, and it becomes very apparent that that's not what the rest of the creative team and the director's looking for. It probably takes more guts to walk away from something than it does trying to change what you want to do into something that suits your bosses. So he kind of hinted that he's gone for now, but maybe he could be back at a later date.
Well, like I say, I'm a massive Lindelof fan, love the guy, but his forte is TV. Give him a TV series.
That was kind of what most puzzled me about it. And I did try to wonder, is the whole concept of setting up basically a Jedi Academy is kind of what they hinted that's what the film's going to be, and Rey's going to be the master. Was the whole idea of it to let's do a movie that then spins off into a TV series, because it kind of feels more like TV content than it does movie.
Yeah, I mean, let's say Prometheus was okay, but not great. Cowboys and Aliens, yeah. So his film credits aren't as good as his TV credits are. That's Watchmen, The Leftovers, Lost, all top notch.
Yeah. So fingers crossed he's not gone forever, and that he finds something that suits. Continuing the Hasbro reveals, we had General Grievous as well. Always a spectacular looking character. Always surprised that more wasn't done with that character, to be honest. Fans of modern Star Wars TV can pick up Luke Skywalker and Grogu in the vintage collection, and lots of little frogs as well, obviously thrown in there for Grogu.
That'll sell.
And you can also get Black Series Wicket. and a Black Series Chewbacca. And not to be outdone, you can also pick up an Ahsoka Tano. So they're covering all bases here. Could never go wrong with Stormtroopers and Clone Troopers. So you've got the Black Series Phase 2 Clone Trooper there. And talking of underused characters, same with Grievous was the Magna Guards as well. So they're now available in Black Series.
That looks quite cool.
You've got the Mandalorian as well. But the only problem with that is you kind of feel like it's coming, more than... This isn't going to be out to spring next year. So it's almost going to be 2 years too late, you kind of feel.
Yeah.
And Vintage Collection Grand Inquisitor as well coming out this autumn. And it's just so disappointing that Hasbro can't get the figure releases timed to match when the TV series is being released. It kind of doesn't necessarily work for me. If you were an action figure buyer, is there one in there that you would be drawn towards?
Funnily enough, I just bought two arrived during the week.
Did they? Okay.
I've got Aldani's just up the road from where I live. Yeah. It's like I haven't been yet, but I'm planning on it. I'm waiting for the weather. I've been wanting to go for the last. Well, really, I was hoping to go 2 weeks ago, and then last weekend as well. But it was kind of a bit overcast and a bit drizzly. No, I've waited this long. I want it to be perfect weather when I go. But I've got a couple of Black Series figures that I'm wanting to go up and take some pictures on locations or shots.
Excellent.
But yeah, give me more Aldani figures and Aldani Black Series, and I'll be happy.
This time next year, maybe. Again, Andor is going to be on air and finished potentially before we have the figures that you kind of want out there. But yeah, it's a great location. I think it's a great one to visit as well. So I think you'll enjoy it. For the rest of the May the 4th products, Mr. Newbold over on fathertracks.com, kind enough to create one giant article, the mega list, with everything May the 4th wise that was released and announced, and probably still adding to it as more and more bubbles to the surface. Take the link in the show notes, head over at fathertracks.com, see what you can find, see what bargains you can find about there. There's definitely discounts and money off deals from all the big companies and beyond, and anybody and everybody that you can possibly think of was doing something for May the 4th. Even Fortnite was in on the game. I've seen loads of clips on social media people playing with the Star Wars characters in Fortnite. Funko, can't go anywhere without a Funko Pop. I do actually love the droid one from Obi-Wan. It kind of looks kind of cool. And looks I hate great. Droids, so that says something. And all the content that was out there on Disney Plus as well. So you can't go wrong. There was something for everybody. Did you buy anything May the 4th, or were you able to completely avoid the commercialization of Star Wars for a day?
The only thing I didn't buy it on May 4th. I think it was like a couple of days before. The base layer, the Tatooine base layer from Roosevelt's.
Yeah.
So that's on its way over. But apart from that, no, I didn't go for anything.
I didn't buy anything on May the 4th, but I waited till 1 o'clock in the morning, so technically it was into May the 5th. And I ordered a couple of shirts from Roosevelt's as well. I just had this thing where I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to let them know that I bought anything on May the 4th. None of these companies, you're not getting my money. Stop the madness on May the 4th. So I waited until the midnight had gone. And of course, by that point, I'd actually wanted... they had a limited edition Return of the Jedi one, and it had sold out in my size. And I was like, Them's the breaks. Them's the breaks.
I tell you, the other shirt that I did. In fact, there's two shirts that I was almost buying. I was that close. The Beskar. I like the subtlety
Yeah,
of the Beskar one, and the Revenge of the Jedi.
yeah.
I
I
thought
like the
that
Beskar
one.
one. I kind of agree with you. I like a shirt that you can get away with and nobody really knows it's a Star Wars shirt unless they know they know.
Yeah,
The Beskar one's kind of cool. Um, we've got a chance as well to look forward to events coming up later this year. Rancho Obi-Wan announced on May the 4th they're going to have a gala this year. Um, Oktoberfest. Saturday the 21st of October at Rancho Obi-Wan. Had the pleasure of being to the ranch once for a Star Wars gala a few years back. Amazing event. You never know what random guests are going to pop up. I had the pleasure of standing and having a conversation with Dave Filoni and at Rancho, and completely by accident I was in a group of people and Dave was there, and for whatever reason everybody kind of else disappeared. It was just me and Dave Filoni chatting Star Wars and ice hockey. So, a really fun event. Great cause as well. Obviously, Rancho
you
Obi-Wan's a
just tell them you
charity.
don't like hockey and you don't like animation.
Yeah. I literally, he asked me if I was enjoying the new series. I think would it have been Clone Wars or it had been on at the time. So I had two choices: I lie and say that I've watched it, and then struggle to hold a conversation with him about it, or I just tell the truth that I don't watch it. So I had to tell the truth I don't watch it. You know, I've flown all the way from Scotland to come to this Star Wars event in Petaluma in California, and I don't watch Star Wars. Yeah, awkward.
Well, I haven't been. I've been to Rancho Obi-Wan a couple of times, but I haven't been to a gala.
Yeah. I'm the opposite way around. I went to the gala, but I've never actually been to Rancho and had the proper Steve Sansweet tour.
Oh,
So
really?
I want to go to Rancho when there's not a gala as well, just to have that experience of the
Uh,
traditional tour.
Steve's a great host.
Yeah,
It's he's I mean, obviously his knowledge is unbelievable, but
yeah,
the way he conducts the tour, and he'll happily answer any question you throw at him.
yeah. What I love about it as well is he's got loads of the weird and wonderful and like fan made things and all that kind of things.
I
So there's like stuff there that's so unique. So yeah, it's great to see like a complete run of all the Hasbro stuff and a huge display stand. You know, it's stunning to see. But in the same hand, it's really cool to see like the fan made kind of stuff and the unique and weird and wonderful stuff as well.
I think one of the things that, just when you're saying that it's fan made, I'm sure it was like a knitted puppets or something like that. It was, yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
again quirky, not on the shelf items.
yeah. Um, Going back to May the 4th, and probably the best part of May the 4th for me, I think, was watching the live stream of Carrie Fisher's Hollywood Walk of Fame
Aye.
star being placed. And something I think that fans have been feeling it's been long overdue. Obviously, she didn't receive a star during her lifetime, and lots of people feel like kind of she should have. The rules and complications and all that kind of thing surrounding that, and someone has to want it and then someone has to fund it and all that kind of thing often means that the people you expect to be on the Walk of Fame aren't there. But and then doing it after someone's passing becomes more complicated because then they make you wait so long and blah blah blah. But
hmm
it kind of eventually happened, and it kind of felt really quite special.
Yeah.
Very emotional, I think, for the family, but also for the people that she worked with, and you could sort of see and feel the emotion in the crowd during the live stream as well.
Yeah.
And there is kind of like a little clip kind of I picked out and we can play if I talk about it. But long overdue, Paul, and nice to see
Absolutely.
it finally there.
Absolutely. I mean, I kind of got a little story to tie in with this. I was I would I just jumped in the car. I was driving. It was last Monday, and it was the bank holiday, and I was coming back from Edinburgh from watching Return of the Jedi, and all of a sudden, like my phone starts ringing, and I sort of looked at it, and it was like someone that I hadn't seen or spoken to for years. The last time I had seen her was when we were lining up for Rise of Skywalker. And so I was like, that's weird. Like, well, like we never call each other, you know what I mean? We
Yeah.
might sort of message, you know, we'd never call. So I missed this call because I was driving. And when I returned the call, well, sorry, when I got back, she also sent me a couple of messages, a couple of pictures, and it was her and like I think 3 or 4 other people who were on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and they had been invited to help make her star,
Okay.
because they had made the fan tribute. So obviously, because she didn't have a star, the people lining up, the you know, they camp out for Star Wars movies at the Chinese theater for a week. So that group of fans got together, found like a blank star, and created a star, a fan-made star for Carrie when she passed. And then as it turns out, the commerce got in touch with them to say, look, she's getting one on May the 4th. Do you want to come along? Well, it was more, we can't give you a seat. There was only 30 seats. We can't give you an invite on the actual day, but if you want to come along a few days beforehand and help make her star. So a bunch of friends went along, and they got to pour glitter, and they sort of put their handprints underneath the star itself in the cement
That's
that
cool.
the star's laid on and stuff. So they, you know, that was very emotional for them too, and special. You know what I mean? So please tell them.
It's kind of strange because she's an actress. None of us sort of knew her as individuals, but you kind of felt you did through meeting her at conventions and hearing her speak and so on. And everyone kind of has their own sort of story and their own sort of connection with her. And I think I spoke with a few people about Celebration Just Gone, that you can feel her absence. I don't think you would ever have that kind of feeling and emotion about any other kind of contributor to this franchise or any other kind of franchise. She was that unique kind of person that I don't know how to explain it. She had this way of connecting with people, and it could be a 10-second fleeting moment where she's signing your autograph, but yeah, it's a memory that you'll keep for a lifetime, you know?
It was her humour.
Yeah.
Her dry, dark, down-to-earth humour.
Yeah.
In fact, I've got 3 top Celebration moments, and 2 of them involve Carrie. One of them was when Andy got to interview her, and like it was a surprise for Andy to interview her, and she just totally burst out, like she was literally quivering. So like that was so emotional. It was fantastic. And the other one was after Carrie had passed. I think it was Orlando we were at. Yeah, I think it was Celebration in Orlando. Daniel Logan had Gary with him, and I was just passing by. I was going to get an autograph of whoever, I can't remember, but I was walking by and I just noticed Gary, and I just went straight up, said to Daniel, like, do you mind? And by this point, he was like, yeah. And I just completely lost it. Just tears streaming.
Yeah.
You know, the fact that Carrie wasn't there, but Gary was, I was just, I just lost it.
Yeah. And it's just like, I don't know, it's so hard to articulate, but she had that something special about her, something so unique that you can't place, you know, and I think that's how it means so much to people. And it's great that there's now, you know, there's a star, people can kind of go and have like a little moment and sort of remember her. And Yeah, because it was her, definitely her presence. I missed it. Celebration just gone. It's kind of she's irreplaceable in terms of just being there and the vibe and everything that came from her. I think. Yeah, so she'll be sadly missed. But yeah, that was my highlight on May the 4th. I thought that was something really quite
Absolutely.
special. I
Yeah.
enjoyed watching a live stream of that. It was great. Um,
That was the only thing I did watch.
yeah, yeah. Um, moving on and carrying on with the news this week. Kathleen Kennedy's, excuse me, get rid of that. Kathleen Kennedy has been talking about the future of Star Wars movies, and she kind of compared it to Bond, and that, every 3 to 4 years you're getting a Bond film, and it's kind of like an event, and she's kind of acknowledging that that's now important to Star Wars. It shouldn't be like annual content. That they have to eventize this.
I had to Google that word, to be honest with you.
I was trying to spit
What?
it out. And also acknowledging that they have to tell the truth that they're only going to make these movies when they're ready to be made and release them when they're ready to be released. And I kind of feel it's kind of there's something a little bit cathartic about hearing them finally say this, because it kind of feels like there's been a little element of the fan base banging our heads against the wall and sort of, we don't want this every year, and we want it to feel special, and don't rush it out, and and I think the fairest criticism you can give of the sequel trilogy is that it felt rushed, that there wasn't the time given afforded to develop a story for the whole trilogy, and the time afforded to those making it to deliver on screen what they envisioned, I think.
I mean, all we're looking for is just map it out, have a plan.
Yeah.
It sounds simple, but
Kind
yeah.
of my criticism, I think, is you need a head of creative, someone who's the central driving force for everything, coordinating everything. And because the question I keep asking, and I think it's what Lucasfilm should be asking, is, what is Star Wars? What is the whole purpose that you're looking to achieve in Star Wars? What's the story you're looking to tell? And because you look at the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, the goals were very clear and very mapped out as to what it was seeking to achieve and the story it was seeking to achieve. And beyond that, to me at least, the products that have worked under the Disney era, Star Wars, have been the ones where they've been very particular and set in a very tight time frame. So there wasn't that had to be very specific. So the likes of Rogue One, for example, it's the lead up to A New Hope. It's very specific in what it can do and what it can say.
Yeah.
And the ones that haven't worked for me are the ones that have been a lot more open. Like sequel trilogy, where they had a blank slate and you just felt, I don't understand where they're trying to go with this.
Yeah.
So for you, do you agree with the idea that a Star Wars movie should be an event, that shouldn't be every
Absolutely.
year, it should be this 3 to 4 year cycle?
Absolutely. I mean, that was why Solo failed so miserable. Well, I mean, I've got my own grievances with Solo for one reason, but the to come out 6 months after the previous Star Wars movie was just ridiculous.
Yeah, it felt like they were kind of follow the Marvel model of, let's push out as much content as we can in a single year, and we can do that with Star Wars as well.
But yeah, fine. Well, I'm glad they've taken the hint and they're slowing it down.
Yeah. I guess my one concern is where they do say that they're going to make the movies when they're ready.
Aye.
When you see,
Well,
like,
to announce 3, like, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I thought maybe we should have just chilled on, maybe 1 or 2, but again,
that kind of concerned me on the basis that obviously the Rey movie was the movie Lindelof was attached to, and he left that project in mid-February,
Uh,
and Daisy Ridley visited Lucasfilm in late February, and so you assume that's at the point that she's agreeing to come on board,
yeah.
and you just think, are they pushing that one too fast? Are they pushing that before they've really got a story developed, and are they giving it enough of a cycle? Obviously, they haven't announced when these films are going to be released, but you kind of think,
Oh, yeah, that's what I was just going to say. You don't know what order they're coming in.
yeah. So hopefully they're going to the new writers on board. I think it's a Peaky creative head that's going to be tackling that movie now.
Yeah.
So hopefully he's afforded the time to develop the story as much as it's needed before that enters production.
Fingers crossed.
Talking of
Stephen Knight, was his name. I was just trying to think of his name.
I
Stephen
couldn't
Knight.
remember his name off the top of my head. That's right. Yeah. Talking about things that are in production, pretty much Andor season 2 we're halfway through, and Tony Gilroy's been talking about it. One of the big reveals he mentioned was at the end of the show is going to be the final 3 days leading up to Rogue One. But he also explains kind of the risks they're taking, and the second season is going to be very different. And they're talking about having like 1,500 pages of the most dynamic material and these people's lives to deal with. How they got it right the first time in season 1, they're not going to take their foot off the gas. And the core ingredients for the second season are going to be secrecy, paranoia, lack of trust, betrayal. How it's going to be difficult to build the revolution, and what happens to the original gangsters as other people get involved. So he seems very keen to build on the success of season 1. He's been clear
Sounds very boring.
Yeah, he's been clear that the whole of season 2 has been written because obviously you've now got the writer's strike.
Yeah.
It's all in the bag. He's in a difficult situation because obviously he's part of the Writers Guild. But under the terms of the Writers Guild, he can still work as a showrunner. He can still work on other things to do with casting and production and post-production. But there's a fine line to walk because obviously when you're filming something, there can be rewrites and changes to scripts and so on. So it becomes very difficult for shows that are in production to be on the right side of the guidelines that the guilds operate to.
How did, in fact, that's one thing I haven't really thought about before. Obviously, he's the member of the guild over there, but because he's working and shooting over here, how does that work?
So there's a guild over here in the UK, an equivalent guild, and the rules of the UK guild stipulate that if you're also a member of the US guild, you have to operate in the UK under the terms and conditions of the US guild. So if you're in the UK writing guild and you're in the US writing guild, you cannot work on a project in the UK writing.
Right.
So you'd be expected to honour, what you've signed up to in America, even though it's a UK production. Interesting. So I can't see it not being impacted in some ways.
Yeah, absolutely, Ian, yeah. It must be.
In past writer strikes have averaged around about the 80 to 100 days, which takes you right towards the end of the shoot, I think, of Andor, which was due to end August, September time, I think. So you've got the possibility that they produce as much as they can in the areas that they need to potentially rework, they push to the very end of the shoot and hope that the writer's strike is resolved in a timely fashion.
Fingers crossed.
In terms of season 2 of Andor, what do you want to see from season 2? Because there's so much potential of the way that they could go.
Just reading that there, the secrecy and paranoia, those are, that gives you a clear indication of where we're going. There's a couple. I mean, okay, so how? So I put a comment in last week. Radis. I'd like to see Radis make an appearance.
Yeah.
And how did they know? In fact, just when you brought the camera back,
There you go. Radis in all
give
his
him a-
glory. Something
what is
special
it?
that. Has to be a scene with
yeah.
Radis and Akbar.
I want to see Radis, and this might already been answered in literature or whatever, but something that you might know. How did they know Yavin 4 was a safe space? What made them decide Yavin 4? What
I
made
can't
them
think it's
build a
been
base? Yeah.
disclosed in what's now considered the canon, but they certainly explored it in Legends.
Is it?
Yeah, don't think it's been re-explored in canon. But
Yeah. So
that's what.
if you could slip in a little Yavin 4 scene, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I'd love to see some goings on in the Senate, because at the timeline that Rogue One's in, the Senate still exists. So technically, you've got the Emperor going out there and making his proclamations to the Senate, and the Senate supporting him in his actions. And at some point, he then.
Here we go.
I know. I won't do it to you. But at some point, he's. I can't. In a week where they're appointing a new king, we can't be having people shouting out "Long live the Emperor." But I would love to see that, because it's at this kind of time period now they're heading into is when he dissolves the Senate. So I'd love to see, did Bail Organa, did Mon Mothma do something that triggered the Emperor to say, I can't kid these people on anymore. I need to just get rid of them. That interests me. It interests me does Tarkin and Krennic cross paths with the political side? If they're secretly building the Death Star in the background, is there some crossover there? That kind of interests me as well. So I'd just love to see a scene with Bail Organa and Mon Mothma and the Emperor. I just think that would be great.
That would be cool.
There has to be a trigger point. You know, obviously they're helping out the rebellion and they're doing little bits and pieces, but there has to be the trigger point where they just go all in. And what's that trigger point? So, yeah, that's what interests me most, I think.
Good thoughts.
And I don't know if we'll go there, because I think a lot more of the focus is going to be on the characters we've already met. I don't know necessarily if we're going to introduce a whole lot more, and maybe introducing Krennic, Tarkin, the Emperor kind of complicates things a little bit. But I'm also interested in that when they talk about the final 3 days leading up to Rogue One. I want to see the event that makes Andor basically go stuff it. I'm going to kill my best mate if I need to kill my best mate to make these things fall in place and happen as well. That's because that's.
I think that's going to be key, isn't it? That's what I mean. What a way to introduce them.
Yeah. I
mean, in Rogue One, you're like, oh, here's a good guy. Like, what? He's just, you don't mind to shoot your best mate.
Yeah. And I think we've also heard that Andy Serkis is going to be back as Kino as well. And I'm just interested to see how they bring him back into the fold. And what side of the fold does he fall on? Is he going to be a rebel? Is he going to be Imperial? If he remained in that prison, did they finally get to him and break him?
He's got to be a goodie.
You think?
He's got to be. Oh, he has to be.
I just think of his performances and so many other things, and he's so good at being bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would just like to.
Luther, did you watch that?
Yeah.
Luther, he's fantastic in that. Dodgy wig, but he's fantastic apart from that.
Yeah, definitely. There's just so much potential for Andor. It's kind of like the series that I'm just so excited for. I just, there was times and moments when I was like, I don't know what they're doing, why they're doing this and so on. And the payoffs were just so brilliant that you would watch an episode, then I have to go back 2 episodes and watch that again, and you were constantly rewatching whilst the series was being released. It was just brilliant. So excited to get more of that, and we're starting to see little clips and images from it as they're filming across the UK and Spain at the moment, I think. So it's just
Get back
little
to
teasers out
Scotland.
there.
Get back to Scotland. Do another couple of scenes here.
Yeah, definitely. And that is all the news for this week, Paul.
Just like that.
Just like that. A busy full week in the Star Wars. No idea what's going to be coming up in the week ahead, but generally things kind of slow down beyond May the 4th. But you never know, something could surprise us and some news could break this week. There won't be a Good Morning Tatooine next weekend as Star Wars Fun Days going on. But we'll be back in 2 weeks' time and covering all the Star Wars news. In the meantime, keep your eyes on Featurette.com and all the social media at Featurette for all the latest Star Wars news. Paul, it's been great to have you on the show. And
Thank you for asking me. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we'll have you back again sometime very much soon. Thank you everyone for joining in as well and in the comments, and we'll speak again soon. Good night.
Good night.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at FanthaTracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow FanthaTracks TV to be alerted to new content and to be a part of our live shows.